don't you know it? Big Brother Canada released their cast for season 10 with 16 new players to play the game this season. I am looking forward to it. This might be kind of quick first impressions because A, they released the cast late, and B, there was only a short 1 minute or 2 minute videos of About Me's on the ET Canada YouTube page. And we're going to start with Helena, who is 27. She's a master's student, and she's taken. She wants to represent the Punjabi women on BBCAN. I believe the first. I didn't get a whole lot from her interview. She seems very nice, though. And I think the only thing I got from her video on a game level, it's always hard to tell on these first impressions, especially when it's such short videos. But I think Helena has a lot of social game potential. I can see her maybe being a bit of an aggressive player at times, but that's not the worst thing if she could make alliances along the way. I like her possible social game to come, but we'll see. That's just going off of 2-minute video. Up next is Moose, who is 24. He's a content creator. One thing he said in his interview that I caught was that he is looking to go in there and find a strong number one. He wants a duo. He wants to play this game with a duo. And yes, we've heard that before. That's not like game changing. But from these interviews, I didn't get a whole lot of strategies from a lot of these players. But I found that he wants to go in and find his duo and try and get to the end with his duo. It's always respectable. I wrote in my notes that he was kind of giving me a nerdy vibe and that he might not fit in with a lot of this cast. I don't know if that's completely true. He had a good personality, but there is something about him that I think could make him seem a little like he might not fit in. There's something about him that I need to see more of. He has a nerdy gamer vibe. That's not always the best social game. Up next is Lynn, who's 24. I'm not a fan of her name. Lynn. It's a bit much. She's a social media manager. She talked a lot about her possible gameplay. She wants to play all sides or basically in the middle. She's looking for like a 4-person alliance. She wants to maybe use a guy in a showmance. So she's coming in ambitious. I think she could be a good player, honestly. I think she might fall into a trap of doing too much too fast, which is sometimes we hear a lot in these interviews, and they go into this game and do way too much and burn out quick. She has that potential. She's kind of giving me Beth vibes from last season. I didn't like Beth, and Beth was never really playing to win. But I think Lynn seems smarter than Beth was in this game. I think Lynn could be a very dangerous player in this game if people let her get far. Josh is 28. He's in pediatrics. I liked his interview because he said he's coming in wanting to make connections. And he wants to use his charm. And I think he could do that, judging from his interview. He says he doesn't get angry, he gets petty, which could be fun to watch. He reminded me of someone I worked with long ago when I worked at a liquor store, who I think would also have a good social game. And he kind of also reminds me of Miguel, who has played some of these games on this channel, who also has a good social game. I think his strength will be his social game. I need to see if he actually has any strategy, but judging by these small interviews, who knows? Kevin is 28. My first note for him was, what the fuck? Because he was giving off some very strange vibes. Kevin is a bit of a weirdo, not gonna lie. But I liked him in the end. I did, because he was giving some very funny answers. Because the interview was boring, because Ika Wong no longer does the interviews. These interviews were so much better when Ika would do these interviews, and we got a whole lot out of their personalities. Whoever was asking these questions was not good. He was asking the same boring questions. But anyways, he said he thinks he's going to clash with a lot of people in this game. Not the best thing. maybe giving me Mike vibes from also playing these games, who always seems to clash with people in games. I feel like this guy, he says he's not emotional, and I kind of believe him at that, but he's also giving me very bad GameBot vibes. And he's also mentioned in one of his answers that he's not sure if Canada's going to like him because he wants to play the villain. Now, I remember Rohan saying this last season, and then he did not come in. Well, he didn't come in playing the villain game. He eventually, to me, was kind of a villain in the game when he was being an asshole to Toya and Kiefer. But he didn't play a villain game. I think Kevin will play a villain game. He's going to come in and try to be shady and try to play cutthroat. I don't think he's going to get far, though, because I don't know if he's going to connect on a social level with these players. And if he's going to clash with a lot of people, then he's going to have to win a lot of challenges to stay in this game. Next up is Steven Gino Giannopoulos. Gotta love that name. He's a firefighter. He doesn't want to start the game aggressive because he thinks he will be seen as a big target early on because he's fit and he's one of those guys that can be seen as a big target. So he has the right idea coming into this game, knowing he needs to stay under the radar at first and then turn on this game later. He kind of seems like he might try to get into showmance. Who knows what that could bring. That could be a trap for his game if he does, but he also kind of seems like one of those players in Big Brother that could thrive having a showmance. We'll see. I'm interested to see him play, though, honestly. Next up is Summer, who is fun employed. She didn't give it a lot in her interview. Her interview was kind of weird compared to the others. They didn't ask her all the questions in the video, so I don't know why. But she clearly has a big personality. I think she can connect with people in this game. I did like the one thing that she did say in her video of Substance was that she doesn't want to go into this game with a strategy, which honestly is smart because you could go in with all the strategy that you want. But until you actually see the cast and until you actually connect with the cast and vibe with the cast and see where you fit in with the cast, your strategy doesn't mean shit until you're there. So it's good that she's not going in with the strategy because she's going to have to adapt with the game going. So I like her and this idea of her going to this game to just adapt because that's what players need to do. Jay is 28, a theater director. Jay is quirky for sure. I'm gonna have to see how they fit in with this cast. Jay is really a player who I have to see fit in with this cast. He's given me very similar to Moose. Those are two of the people that came off in the videos to me, well, other than the older player as well, who I have to see fit in, or if they fit in or not, because I think the potential for Jay to not fit in is pretty big. Speaking of the older player, that is Martin/Marty. He's 43, definitely the oldest. Unlike last season where there was like 3 kind of older players, this season it's basically only Marty here. I mean, there's a 35-year-old, but that's the closest that gets to 43. It's the 35-year-old. Everyone else is kind of around the age of 28 to 32. So Marty is the oldest. He says he's going to be a comp beast, and I think for him to stay in this game, he's going to need to be a comp beast because he is going to be one of the early targets just because of his age. Unfortunately, he, I think, could be the first boot, but I hope he gets a chance to play because he's the only older player. Nobody likes to see the typical people that go home first. But we'll see how he does. He's going to have to win comps, though, to get far in this game for sure. Betty is 31. She's in HR. She gives off positive vibes for sure. She doesn't like mansplaining. People that work in HR are, from what I've seen on jobs, there's 2 kinds of people that work in HR. There is the really overly nice people who just want to help out, or there's the people in HR that you have no idea how they actually got into HR in the first place because they're kind of shady. I don't think she's actually the second one. She came off like the first person. Like, she's going to be helpful. I think she's going to be nice. She's going to connect with people. I think Betty has a lot of potential in this game. Because of her job and working with people, her social game will be one to watch, likely. Herman is 29, auto sales GM. I didn't get a whole lot from his interview at all. I think his personality is good enough. The fact that he's in sales is always could be a good thing in these games. He might be able to be the under the radar snake. I could see that from him. But other than that, I didn't get a whole lot from his interview, so I don't know a lot about him yet. Tynesha, 32, she's a model. She's a single mom. And she wants to bring charm into this game, but to stay out of a showmance. I think she might have a hard time in this game. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe. The potential's there. I think she will be charming, but something's telling me that she's going to struggle to make as many connections as she thinks she is. But that's just a hunch. What do I know from a 1 minute fucking video? Up next is Melina. She's 29. She had the shortest video. Her video was only like 47 seconds, so I don't really know what to say about her. She's an artist. I'm intrigued by her. I want to see her in comps. She seems fit. She seems different. Out of all the women, she might be one that has a hard time fitting in. But I think she'll be able to do that. I think there's enough quirky people in this game for Melina to find her way. Up next is Stephanie, 26. She's a youth worker. She's a partier. She's given the white spicy V, which anybody that watched any of my Big Brother Canada podcast last season would know that's not a good thing. I don't know if her personality is quite as big as Spicy V, and I don't know if she's going to be like quite as in-your-face bad as Spicy V, but she has the potential to do so. She also wants a showmance. I don't like Stephanie's chances of winning this game because of all of those comparisons, but we'll see her play first before I completely make that assessment. Jessica is 35, a visual artist. Another short interview. It was less than a minute. I got nothing from her. She was kind of it reminded me of a player that was casted on the short season that didn't complete because of COVID, and it was season 8. I don't remember her name, maybe Brooke. That's only because they kind of look similar. She's 35 though. She's the oldest woman. Still 8 years younger than Marty though. But maybe her age could be a detriment to her as well. I didn't get enough from her interview. And last is Kyle Moore. We had a Kyle Moore last season, and Twitter, before the season started, found this Kyle Moore on Twitter thinking he was the player in this last season that was casted when he really wasn't. And then he got online the next day seeing all these mentions that he was on Big Brother Canada, played along with it, gets cast this season. So Twitter's going to love Kyle probably, which means I'm going to hate Kyle probably. He's not a bro like the last Kyle last season, but he's the youngest person on the cast, and I kind of secretly hope that is his detriment, because I don't think I'm going to be rooting for this guy, because anybody that Twitter is so behind usually messes up royally somehow, some way. So I could definitely see Kyle tripping and falling in this game, but I'm going to give him a chance, of course, because I need to see him play. But I'm definitely not going to be rooting for him like Twitter, because me and Twitter just clash, and that's just never going to change. But that is the cast. I like it overall. BBCAN always does a good job casting compared to CBS, or at least compared to Big Brother, and Viacom's The Challenge as well. But we will see what happens. I will try to be covering the feeds next week. I don't know if I will have enough people to do the rankings podcast, but if I do, I would like to try and do a draft as well. But no, I don't know if that's going to happen. It could just be me talking about Big Brother Canada this season, but I think I will enjoy it, and I will see you all next time, next week.